Hello again, everybody. Second Attack is here with my WWE Raw review for the night, Monday, February 23rd, 2015. Wait, what was it 14? So it's 15. Called tonight's Raw, the aftermath of Fastlane, heading down that road to WrestleMania, taking place tonight from the Bridgestone Arena, Nashville, Tennessee. I've been to both venues that have hosted the WWE events for the last 2 days. I was in Memphis a couple years ago for but for to see the Eagles, great venue. Went to Bridgestone Arena for a country award show 5 years ago. Both great venues, and I love going down Broadway in Nashville. Let's get down to my thoughts on tonight's Raw going on after the pay-per-view. It was okay, but we had a lot of seeds planning for WrestleMania. One match was officially announced. A new match. A couple seeds for more matches planned. And mind games are starting. And it all involved Randy Orton and Seth Rollins. I can tell where this is going. As we know, Randy Orton returned last night at Fastlane to attack Seth Rollins after what happened a few months ago when Seth Rollins laid him out on the steps with a curb stop and all that. And Orton returned last night after waiting patiently for him to return. We knew he was going to come back, but the question was when. When was Fastlane last night? He attacked him, like I said. We kicked off while Randy Orton won a piece of Rollins again. Won a piece of Rollins again. But instead of getting Rollins to come out to beat his ass again, we got the Authority minus Seth Rollins. Being, of course, Triple H, Stephanie McMahon, Big Show, and Kane. Stephanie's like, Randy Orton, you are that Randy Orton again. You're that vicious Viper, the dangerous guy we want as a member of the Authority once again. And Orton was like, and he was getting cheered heavily with babyface pop, and he's like, I'm not kissing ass, I want to kick some ass. And somebody's like, you have done some devious things, Orton. You've done things to my family, including myself. Of course, when he RKO'd Stephanie and kissed her. Of course, they couldn't show that, Stephanie said, because it was more horrid than what he did last night. Or as I like to say, because it's TVPG, you can't show men beating women. Anyway, so Triple H and all these guys were trying to get Orton back on the same page. Trying to set up a conference call, a business conference. And Orton didn't give him a response at first. Until he's like, hey, you know what? I'll be there. So, we'll see how that unfolds. And it would unfold as we would see Orton later on in the evening. Getting his business conference. Face to face with Seth Rollins. I'm surprised they didn't beat each other out there. But Orton buried the hatchet, surprisingly, with Seth Rollins. Shook his hand. And looked like Orton was back in the Authority. And to set up the main event for the evening, Rollins and Orton against Reigns and D-Prime. Before we get to that main event, we gotta get to the first match to get to the last. First match following that segment involving Orton and the Authority would be Dolph Ziggler taking out Ben Barrett. Of course, Ben Barrett is still the IC champion, but he didn't have a belt, as Dean Ambrose stole it after their match with the DQ ending against Dean Ambrose at the pay-per-view last night, setting up a possible rematch at WrestleMania. Well, they may have company. R-Truth has defeated Ben Barrett in the past, and he was on the announcer's table, commentating, using the hashtag, and it got trending a little bit, give Truth a chance, all we are saying, give Truth a chance. I had to do that because I used that hashtag. I had to sing a little John Lennon for you kids who don't know that to give peace a chance, but in this case, it's give Truth a chance. Anyway, we see, of course, the man who defeated Dolph Ziggler for IC Championship back in the very month of December. Getting there with Ziggy again with the title on the line. Even if the title was on the line, he didn't have the belt to show it. It was okay, decent matchup. They've had better matches in the past. But it was a fun little matchup with Ben Barrett going for all of the ammo and very aggressive tonight, very angry. He was not in a good mood because of the aforementioned stealing of the belt last night by Dean Ambrose. So he was in a bad mood. He wasn't delivering bad news, he was in a bad mood. He was vicious on DZ, and he only going. But Dolph Ziggler, even though he got whammed on the outside by Bad News onto R-Truth, but R-Truth did not get involved after getting whammed into by Dolph Ziggler by Wayne Barrett, Wade was going for all of his weapons. He was setting up the bullhammer, missed a couple of chances at that. He did nail. The winds of change. He was going for the waistline as well. But as he was going for the waistline, Dolph Ziggler countered by whamming him against the post, nailing the zigzag and the 1-2-3 victory for Dolph Ziggler, pinning the IC champion in a non-title match. So we have 3 men who have defeated Bad News Barrett in a non-title match in the last couple of weeks. R-Truth has, Dolph Ziggler has, and Dean Ambrose has. And speak of the devil, here comes Dean Ambrose after the match with the IC Championship belt. Staring down Bad News Barrett, then staring down Dolph Ziggler. I was like, I smell a triple threat here. We're not going to have a triple threat involving D-Bry, Reigns, and Lesnar. Maybe that could still happen. Because I don't see D-Bry in the Battle Royal. And if Dolph Ziggler is going to wrestle for the IC Championship, that means the rumored Daniel Bryan Dolph Ziggler match may not even happen. So it still could be a triple threat with D-Bry and Reigns and Lesnar. How they're going to insert them back in the mix, we shall see. But it could be a fatal 4-way if you add R-Truth in. So let's see the plan for Ambrose getting his rematch against Bad News Barrett, but adding Ziggler and R-Truth to the match. Could be an intriguing matchup if it is a fatal 4-way. But I'd rather it be triple threat. Because I don't want R-Truth in. I have nothing against R-Truth, but R-Truth has no chance in hell in the match. I'm not being racist here. Let's say R-Truth would be the dark horse in all of this. See? Not being racist here. Anyway, so that's the thing with DZ getting a pin on the IC champion non-title. Possible C for possible fatal 4-way at WrestleMania. We haven't had the IC championship in a while. You know, I don't think we've had an IC title match at Mania in a long time. We've seen US title match at Mania, but not IC title in a while. So we'll see how that goes as we head towards Mania. Now on to the next matchup. The Primetime Players are officially reunited, and it feels so good. Man, mentioning old songs tonight. First I'm singing all Give Peace a Chance since Truth had his own trending Give Truth a Chance. Then I'm singing Reunited by Peaches and Hub. Google that, kids. Anyway, we had to see Primetime Players. The reunion started last week as the Ascension beat down Darren Young and a random tag team partners as Darren Young returned after nearly a year away from a knee injury. Then we see Titus O'Neil come out to make the save, and apparently we would see the Siege planning for a PTP reunion, despite Darren Young saying that he was hesitant to reunite with Titus O'Neil after Titus O'Neil turned his back on him a year ago when they broke up for no reason, when they were so over. I said that last week in my review. He said on the Fallout on YouTube, they did end up reuniting properly, and they all back together tonight as they took on the Ascension in a proper match tonight. Now, the Ascension has been dissing other teams, which is a bad way to book them. You know, making fun of other teams, putting them up on the pedestal, comparing them to other teams. Especially when they made fun of the Bushwhackers tonight, because Bushwhackers are the 4th member of the class of 2015 at the WWE Hall of Fame, as I mentioned on the Attack Sports today. It's going to be interesting to see Bushwhackers, and I'm a big fan of theirs, and it'll be interesting to see how the speech is going to go. So they dissed the Bushwhackers in this segment. Hall of Fame, like Hall of Shame has been. I was like, wow. They couldn't even last 4 seconds with us. I was like, wow. They've been booked badly. I'm not blaming them. I'm blaming the writers. I'm blaming creative on this one. You know, I hope Ascension can come back from this and try to get over good. It may have gotten over as they were dominant the early half of the matchup, really dominant on Darren Young in the corner. Really isolating him to do some double team moves until Titus O'Neil got in. Actually, Titus never even got tagged in. He did get in the match, though, as many penny predicaments from the Ascension on to Darren. Titus had to pick up the count, and he got rid of one of the guys. And as Connor knocked on the outside with Titus out there too, with Victor distracted, trying to go for a big move. Young would counter with a roll-up. And a 1-2-3 victory, surprise victory for the primetime players, giving essentially their first loss on the main roster on WWE since they've come in. So as primetime players were celebrating, didn't have time for long to celebrate though, as the Ascension were on the attack, attacking both members of the PTP following their surprise loss with the roll-up. Setting up to follow the man. Move and bang. The Ascension stood tall despite the loss. I smell a little mini feud going on with these two games. This could be the thing that could get Ascension to get more heat on them. And more heel pop. Because they didn't get much of a heel pop when it came out though. Speaking of pops, I'm happy to hear a lot of cheers tonight. Not a lot of boos for Roman Reigns tonight for the first time since the Royal Rumble. Of course, he had to we-earned that position to face Brock Lesnar for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania by beating Daniel Bryan at Fastlane last night. He came out to a bunch of good cheers. He came out to a lot of good cheers until he mentioned the fact he won the Royal Rumble. And the boos started. He said, all the doubters. It wasn't good enough to win the Rumble. I had to earn my spot again. And then here comes Daniel Bryan. When the cheers started, the boos for Roman Reigns, who comes deep by to make the fans go, yes. I don't know what they were trying to do with Reigns here. Like, he was getting cheered at first, and all of a sudden they were talking down on him, like saying that you didn't deserve the Royal Rumble win. I was booing like the other people, Daniel Bryan said. You didn't deserve that spot in the Royal Rumble, in my mind. You know, I like your potential and all, but you don't have any heart as I do. But then I faced you last night, and I thought, well, you do have more heart than me. You deserved the win last night. You deserved to beat me. You were the better man last night. You showed why you deserve to beat the crap out of Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 31. They shook hands, and Reigns got cheered again until Paul Heyman came out. Now, there was a little rumor that Brock Lesnar was supposed to show up tonight as well. They said on the app, I think the app said, I got a notification from my WWE app today that Brock Lesnar was scheduled to be on Raw tonight. But it was just Heyman, no Lesnar. So, maybe Lesnar will show up till maybe the week before WrestleMania, or maybe next week. We shall see. But Lesnar should be on more Raws if we head towards Mania. So, Paul Heyman came out saying, congratulations, Roman Reigns. You deserve that spot against my man, Brock Lesnar. You know, I'm not surprised that you won. I put my money on you all the time. Doesn't matter what situation you're in, Reigns, I will always put my money on you. And this is when the booing started again. I was like, Reigns got a good cheer. You know, he's finally getting some good cheers after getting booed for a month. And no heel turn, you know, after winning the Rumble, getting some positive cheers again. But D-Bry and Paul Heyman made people want to boo him again. Especially Paul Heyman's like, I put my money on you if you took on Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant back in their prime. I would even put you winning over Stone Cold from 99. That's when the crowd really booed. I was like, are you kidding me right now? We're trying to get Roman Reigns over as a good guy to get cheers, not to get booed again. And you're talking down and making fans want to boo him. You know, I think maybe they're getting themselves booed or making Roman Reigns get booed because, hey, could be going for the Heyman thing. But anyway, as Heyman was saying all this stuff, that he's like, oh, Reigns, you could beat anybody at any time, but you cannot beat my beast. You cannot beat the one in 21-1 at WrestleMania 31, Brock Lesnar, the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. And Reigns is like, I'm going to beat your beast. And I faced your man face to face and stare down after the Royal Rumble when we got snowed in at Connecticut at headquarters. But I will beat Brock Lesnar and I'll make him respect Reigns. And when I beat him, it's not going to be about when I beat him, but how I beat him. Because when I beat him, he ain't going to like me much after that. And believe that. So, as we end the segment, Reigns needs to focus on his mic skills and wrestling skills, but hey, he's a decent performer, though. We'll see how he does against Lesnar, despite all the booing and stuff. There was not a lot of boos, though, after the segment, though. Despite scatter boos during the segment after the initial happy cheers. But hey, I think fans are finally trying to get over what happened in the Rumble. You know, even though D. Bryan and Paul Heyman did not make anything better by making statements that make fans want to boo Reigns again. So we shall see how this goes and how D. Bryan gets inserted back into the mix. Because I don't know any other match Bryan can be in. Besides main event. If Dolph Ziggler is going to go for the IC Championship, I don't think D. Bryan should be in the Battle Royal. That's like beneath him. It's more like a payday match. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, they're all doing the Andre the Giant Battle Royal again. That's the match that got added to the mix tonight. We had a lot of guys named for it, including Miz and Mizdow. They had a little segment. Mizdow saying he's going to be contacted by people. And also Axel and Ryback is in. Apparently Ryback Rusev ain't going to happen. Rusev Cena 2 may happen. But before we get to that, in that segment, we would have a tag team title rematch from last night's Fastlane involving last year's winner of the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, who should have done more after that match, but aligned himself with Heyman. But now he's getting momentum back by combining himself in a great tag team with his fellow half of the new tag team champion, Tyson Kidd. Of course, referring to Cesaro, taking on the Usos in a rematch from Fastlane for the title. I love the match at Fastlane last night. Pretty exciting back and forth action, especially the double teams from Tyson and Cesaro. What Usos decided to give Cesaro and Tyson a piece of their own medicine by their own double teams during the early half of the matchup. Kind of like Bad News Barrett was in his match tonight against Dolph Ziggler. The Usos were not in a good mood either. They were really aggressive in the early half of the matchup, trying to reclaim their titles. And this match wasn't as good as the Fastlane match, especially the ending. But still, fun match though. Decent match with Usos coming with a double team moves. And like I said, really aggressive and trying to get back the titles. But then the double team moves will go to Cesaro and Tyson with a double team move and Cesaro to the swing. And Tyson will go off the top rope to stop it with the elbow. And then we would see all these spots with these guys going back and forth, flying Uso moves. Tyson Kidd connecting with the big moves. And towards the end, as a Kidd was going for a big move, and they dug the strike from Jay, pinning him. He had his foot on the ropes. Referee didn't see it, but Naomi got involved. Now, I was happy the women did not get involved. Of course, the women being the real-life wives of Jamie and Tess and Kidd, Natalya. Glad to get involved in the match last night, but I got involved tonight. As Tyson Kidd's foot was on the rope, Naomi kicked the feet off, and Natalya got mad for a second. We had a little catfight outside the ring, with both girls in a shoving match. And then after Tyson got knocked off, Jay was going up for a Superfly splash. But after Naomi did what she did to Tyson, Natalya decided to retaliate by knocking Jay off the top rope, with the referee looking. Yes, screwy ending, disqualification. Usos win the match thanks to Natty's interference, but retain the championships, Cesaro and Tyson Kidd. So kind of a screwy ending, but I'm happy that Tyson and Cesaro did not lose their titles after the first night. But one spot really interests me about how if it was a weird injury or not. As Natalya was still on the apron after knocking off Jay, causing DQ, Naomi pushed her off the side of the apron, and Natty fell really hard on the concrete. She landed very gingerly on her leg, like she twisted her knee or something as she landed from the apron onto the floor. And she was limping. They had to take her boot off. I hope this foot injury is not a serious injury. I hope it's storyline, but hey, that was a serious injury. So we could see a 6-person tag. We saw a 6-person tag at Mania before. And we also saw these 3 and a 6 and a 6-person mixed tag last. Well, it's actually we didn't get a 6-person tag. We got a 2-person tag. We had one of the Usos and Natalya against Tyson and Natalya. We could have a 6-man mixed tag at Mania. Because these two have a decent feud going on. Especially the Wise now getting involved. So it could lead towards a match at Mania. So there you go. Speaking of possible matches at Mania, we would lead towards another promo from Bray Wyatt. Now, Bray Wyatt came in a casket last night, playing the mind games with Tucker and seeing these promos for the last couple of weeks. We didn't know who they were aimed to. Until we got a little clue at one promo last week with him putting a hammer of a coffin. And he came out in one last night, calling out The Undertaker. Now, there's been a lot of rumors about Taker's condition ever since he lost at WrestleMania 30, ending the streak with Brock Lesnar. Is he going to be the same guy? You know, with the mystique, I was looking for that word, the mystique of the streak gone, will Taker still deliver a great match? I think it could still happen. You know, he can still put on a good match even without the streak. Especially with a great guy like Bray Wyatt, a great walker, a great promo guy. You know, I think it could be an intriguing match if they played the cards right. And we saw Bray Wyatt do another promo with the coffin again. Talking about, Taker, I used to fear you. I'm the new face of fear, like he said last night at Fastlane. And you're not the man you used to be. Ever since you lost to Lesnar, your soul's been broken. You're lost. And it's better down here than down there. Buried alive. So, I don't know when Taker's going to show up, but he better show up soon if he's going to accept the challenge of Bray Wyatt. If we head towards Mania, we could see Taker's mind games begin to unfold like they usually do right as Mania road approaches. And that's what always happens every year. Like, we know when WrestleMania time approaches, there's only one thing that keeps us really excited. No matter how BS the main event is with the situation, we always look forward to one thing and one thing only, and that's the Undertaker's return, because we always know he's going to come back for Mania. We've been a little bit uncertain this year because of losing at Mania the last year in his condition. But now that we kind of know they're going in the direction of Taker coming back, well, decently excited, but we'll see how he performs at Mania. We can't be excited after his weak performance at Mania last year, but hopefully he gets back into really good shape and takes on Bray Wyatt and puts on a good match like he always does, streak or not. That's what people need. That's what he needs to do. He needs to say to him, the streak is done, I can still perform without it. So there you go. Speaking of situations for Mania, we saw Stardust and Goldust last night at Fastlane, but we had kind of a screwy ending. I heard a commentator say during Stardust's match, taking on Jack Swagger tonight, that Goldust beat Stardust 1, 2, 3 fair and square. Make that 1, 2. That was it. There was no 3 count. Referee never counted to 3, so it wasn't fair and square. And after that beatdown from Stardust after Mania, after Fastlane nailing Goldust against the Storage Cage, after losing, then they decided to feud more for a match in Mania. And Goldust decided to get a little revenge tonight, as Stardust was looking good against Jack Swagger, blocking Jack Swagger's attempts at the Swagger Bomb and the ankle lock. Goldust came out to distract Stardust and Cody James galore. And as Goldust, that distraction was capitalized by Jack Swagger, getting Cody Rhodes / Stardust in the Patriot Lock, making a tap out, with Jack Swagger winning, with Goldust costing Stardust a match tonight. So this feud's continuing on, heading towards Mania to a proper brother versus brother match at Mania, because I didn't like that match in Fastlane last night. Not only was the screwy ending not good, but it wasn't as good because Goldust did not want to physically hurt his brother. He was still trying to make amends. But now that Stardust has retaliated, I think Goldust realized he needs to beat up his brother. He doesn't want to be cautious. That's what Goldust was. He was cautious last night. You could tell that in the match. He was cautious. He didn't want to hurt his brother. He just go on with the match just to go through it. Now that Stardust did what he did last night, I think that snapped Goldust to say, I ain't ready to beat up my brother in a physical, grueling match that it should be at WrestleMania. Could be my last match. So there you go. Now, on to another match that could happen at WrestleMania. John Cena and Rusev. Now, we saw what happened at the pay-per-view. Rusev stayed undefeated, with a little help from the referee being distracted by Lana and Rusev getting a low blow. I've always said that. I said in my review last night as well at Fastlane that whenever I see John Cena lose, he's always losing in a screwy ending. John Cena never loses clean. It's always losing in a stipulation match or something screwy happens like a low blow. You know, or he lost during a last man standing match, getting knocked out by Big Show through a spotlight. You know what I mean? He never loses clean. He loses screwy. Because he doesn't want a clean loss, you know? The only clean loss he's ever had was Daniel Bryan at SummerSlam 2013. It's the only time we've ever seen Cena lose clean. Every other loss, we've seen Cena's been kind of screwy. Well, Edge was kind of clean too, but Edge cashed in Money in the Bank, so there you go. So Cena came out saying that I did not properly quit. I passed out because of a little blow. I want you, Rusev, again. So Rusev came out saying that you're not the old John Cena. You're the critter. You're the critter, John Cena. And Cena's like, oh, you're a coward. You're not a hero. You're a coward because you did what you did. And I want another shot at you at the grandest stage of them all, WrestleMania. And Rusev said no. I think it'll happen. I even said this last night that I was not thinking it was going to be a rematch between Cena and Rusev because I want to see Ryback and Rusev at Mania. Because I want Ryback to be the one because they had a little feud building up. You know, Ryback was in line, it looked like, for a U.S. title shot until he got storyline fired and started feuding with the Authority when he came back. And now he's going to be in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. So that puts the Rusev match ixnay on that. And towards Cena and Rusev, which was supposed to be a WrestleMania in the first place. You know, this match was rumored for Mania at first, and then I heard it was going to be a Fastlane, and I was like, wait a minute, this is supposed to be a Mania. And then the match had the ending that it did to set up the rematch at Mania. And in my mind, if Rusev ends up losing a match, it should be a WrestleMania. It should not be at a full-away pay-per-view. He should lose at the grandest stage of them all, even if it's to John Cena. No matter who beats him. Like, if you lose at Mania, you're more memorable for that, kind of. You know, at least you had a big stage to play in, even if it's going to be your first loss. But I hope it's not for the title again, but it probably will be for the title. And it's really ironic that it was 11 years ago, that 10 years ago, John Cena won the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 21. And it was 11 years ago he won his first major singles title at WrestleMania 20, to Big Show for the U.S. title. So it would be ironic that 11 years after winning the U.S. title, on his very first WrestleMania, he would win the title again against Rusev. Maybe. But hey, I've always said the pros and cons of Cena being U.S. champion. You know, it'd be interesting to see Cena with a mid-card title for once, bringing more prestige to a throwaway title as a U.S. title, and he's held that title before. But the cons are, you would, bury Rusev, and I hate when Cena beats guys who have so much momentum, and they lose it when losing to Cena. Although two guys who have lost to Cena and lost all their momentum are starting to get back momentum-wise. Like Bray Wyatt and Damian Sandow. I mentioned them too a lot. So after that, we would have our next matchup. A tag team affair. This was fucking pointless. Proving once again, NXT rules, and they don't let their women wrestle for 30 fucking seconds like they did tonight. With Paige and Emma. And we've had these two team up before, and we saw how that ended. Badly, with Paige turning on Emma because she has the Stone Cold code of ethics. She goes with DTA, don't trust anybody, and she definitely cannot trust the Bellatrix after beating Paige last night by cheating. We wanted to see Paige get her hands on Nikki Bella. Instead, it was Paige, says partner Emma fed to the wolves, with Paige getting knocked out. Emma getting quickly pinned by Brie. 1, 2, 3. Quick 20-second match. Fucking pointless. So, they beat out Paige after the match. So, pointless. Pointless squash. Now, on to another squash, but it was a fun one with Curtis Axel. Now, Curtis Axel, he does have a claim. He never got eliminated at the Royal Rumble. He never really entered the match. He got attacked by Eric Rowan before, and now he's been doing the shtick saying, I want to go to WrestleMania. I should be the one going to WrestleMania because I never got eliminated from the Rumble. Hashtag Axelmania. And he had an Axelmania t-shirt like Hulk Hogan style. And he had Axelmania tights with the WrestleMania logo with Axelmania. This could get him over. You know, it's a silly thing that he's doing, but it's kind of a cool thing to get him over. They're saying, I'm the one who should be at WrestleMania instead of Roman Reigns because I never really got in the match and got eliminated. And then here comes his former tag team partner, Ryback. And like I mentioned, both these guys, along with Miz and Mizdow, are the first announced names for the second annual, well, just the Miz, but I bet you Mizdow will be in the Battle Royal eventually, for the second annual Andre the Giant Battle Royal. I mean, these two are former tag team partners, and never really had a match after Ryback came back from injury and all that. And it was as quick of a squash as the last match was. Axel tried some offense, but they got quickly destroyed with a meat hook and of course the shell shock and bang 1-2-3 victory by minutes crusher for Ryback getting the victory. Now on to our main event. Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns teaming up against Randy Orton and Seth Rollins. Now here's what I thought was going to happen tonight. Randy Orton was going to play along, and I was like, why is Orton playing along with Rollins right now? Why are they teaming up again? It's going to lead to Orton turning on Rollins at some point to heat up the match at Mania. I thought he was going to do the turn tonight. Turn on Rollins sometime during the match. But as we shall see, I think Orton may save the turn for another week or two. Because I think everybody, including me, would have been predictable that Orton would turn on Rollins tonight. Just to set him up. But he may want to play him a little bit more, as we will see. And we didn't think he was going to play with them at first because Orton and Rollins, despite their differences, they actually teamed up pretty well for the majority of the matchup. Teaming, great tags in and out, and actually working as a team. Despite all the differences, despite all that they each other, despite all the stuff they've been through together, and all the beatdowns and all that, they were working together cohesively. Even with the added help of Big Show, Kane, and of course, J Security. So as Rollins and Orton was working together, D-Bryan and Reigns, despite their differences, they got along. As Reigns came in with the big moves with the Superman splash and all that shit. But then, as Orton was setting up Reigns, he got Reigns in the position for the Hangman DDT. Rollins blind tagged himself in. I thought this is the moment that Orton was going to turn on Rollins. He was going to attack Rollins after the blind tag. He was not happy. And it looked that way that he was going to turn. Because he walked away and basically let Rollins get destroyed by Roman Reigns getting a Superman punch. And then Daniel Bryan blind tagged himself in as well. Kind of getting back at Roman Reigns for Roman Reigns doing a blind tag a few weeks ago. Because Roman Reigns blind tagged himself during a match a couple weeks ago at Bryan's expense. So Bryan decided to do the same to Reigns as a friendly little tap back. And he came in with a flying knee in the victory with Rollins laid out to dry after the blind tag. After he and Orton worked so well, Orton was not happy that Rollins' ego got the best of him again. He got the blind tag in. And after the match, Rollins was laid out still from the Superman punch and the flying knee from D-Bryan after losing. Orton was in the corner. It looked like he was going to knee him, punt him, and set up the turn. And he was going right at him. James' security blocked him in the way. And Nova got all KO'd. And Mercury got backed into the corner. Nobody books Mercury in the corner. Get it? The old nobody puts baby in the corner? Another Google, folks. Dirty Dancing. Anyway, after what happened with Orton RKOing Noble and also putting Mercury in the corner, it looked like we were going to see the turn after Orton turning on Rollins. But instead of Orton punting or RKOing Rollins as I expected, he patted Rollins on the back, walked away without any harm done. Like I said, I thought the turn was going to happen, but I think I know where this is going. I think Orton's going to play along and be a team player, or at least pretend to be a team player for the Authority till right down the line, maybe a week or two before Mania. Then he does the turn. He beats up Rollins, then sets up the match against him and Rollins at Mania. You can tell they're going to face off at Mania. But now they need a little build. Since Orton's been gone for a while, they need to build up the match again. By having Orton sign the Authority again, and kind of turning on Rollins. It's kind of too predictable, but I think Orton would turn eventually on Rollins to set up the match after what Rollins did tonight. So we're going to see these guys wrestle, but we'll see what happens. So, we didn't see anything with Sting tonight, or Triple H, although we saw a Sting montage of sorts. But we should see Sting in the next couple of weeks play some mind games on Triple H heading towards their match at Mania. So there you go. Decent action tonight. After the paper, like this is basically building for Mania, continuing some things and building seeds for others, for other matches to be revealed. So there you go. We shall see what goes down the next couple weeks. Okay, decent one coming off a fast lane as we officially go down to Mania with all these new matches announced, with the Battle Warrior announced, possible stage for Cena Rusev 2, a possible Fatal 4-Way with B&B against Ambrose, R-Truth, and Ziggler. And of course, Orton Rollins. We'll see, hopefully, Orton turning on Rollins in the next couple weeks. And maybe they are going to have D. Bryan and Sheamus after all. Like, that was the rumor for us. D. Bryan was going to wrestle Sheamus last year until the fans did what they did. Then they were booking Daniel and Sheamus for this year. Then it was going to be Daniel and Ziggler. Then it was going to be him and Triple Threat. So who knows where Daniel Bryan's going to be at WrestleMania. Either in a Triple Threat or against Sheamus, since now Dolph Ziggler is apparently going to be in a match for the IC Championship. We see how it all unfolds as we head down this road to Mania. I thought it was going to be a long road after the Rumble, but hey, at least we're getting closer to the end of the tunnel. It's getting more fun now, heading towards WrestleMania now. So we'll see what happens from now until March 29. And that is it for my Raw review for tonight. Thank you all very much for watching. With that in mind, y'all better act by the review from Zach. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. See ya.